Oh my goodness. Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. Happy Saturday night. And I just got done watching game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. And of course, the Pacers were the ones who came out on top for the first time, the second time in franchise history. They are going to the NBA Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a really good Oklahoma City Thunder team. Man, oh man, I just wanted to come on here and make a little video because, I've never really talked too much about the NBA on this channel. Like, I've talked about basketball before. I take my glasses off because there's kind of a reflection here. But, don't know why I just touched my face there. But anyway, so I've never really talked about the NBA too much on this channel. I've talked a little bit about college basketball. Of course, I did a series of audio tapes where I did play-by-play for my high school basketball team. So, and as you guys know, I also hosted a radio show while I was in college. And just this past year, or earlier this year, I decided, you know what? Why don't I try to pick up basketball again? Why don't I try to follow the NBA again? Because I'm not gonna lie, growing up, I've always had a love-hate relationship with the NBA, which I won't get into in this video, but I was like, well, you know what? I need to find a team to root for, kind of support if I'm going to, get back into the NBA. And don't know why, but I ended up choosing the Indiana Pacers. And I know some people are like, really? Why'd you choose the Pacers? Well, there's a threefold to that. One, so you guys know I'm a St. Louis sports fan. I like the Cardinals. I like the Blues. For baseball and hockey, it's like, well, since St. Louis doesn't really have, a basketball team, I can pretty much be a fan of like anybody, but really, but I was like, you know what? Why don't I try being a fan of a team that doesn't have, like, the city doesn't have a baseball team. Indianapolis just happens to not have a Major League Baseball team. But they do have NBA. They got the Pacers, and of course they got the Colts for the NFL. Also, rest in peace, their owner who just passed away, the Colts owner, R.I.P. But yeah, I just decided to choose the Pacers just because, I don't know, it's just when I was doing my radio show, I would recap the NBA games, and it just seems like the Pacers were just always winning, and, winning a lot of games, and it just seemed like not a lot of people were really talking about the Pacers outside of Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal and maybe a couple other players. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start following this team. So I kind of did some of my research on the Pacers. I know they're kind of like the Blues, where it's like they're kind of a newer team. Like, they're not exactly new, but they've been around for quite a while, and they have not won an NBA championship. So that's like the second reason. And three, I wanted to pick a team that was not exactly in a rebuild, like a bad team, but I wanted to pick a team that was, again, good, just not a lot of people are talking about them. And to me, that team was the Pacers. Like, I think they were the most slept on team going into the playoffs. Like, they were a 4 seed. They were in the first round taking on the Bucks. And it seemed like the Bucks were favored to win against the Pacers, and Pacers won. Then again, the Bucks had a couple injuries. It's whatever. Pacers win. And then they play the 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, Cavs were heavy favorites going into this series. And however, the Pacers dominated against the Cavs in the regular season, winning a majority of their games. And what do you know? Pacers shocked the world. They beat the Cavs in 5. And so next up is the New York Knicks. And the Knicks, this was probably the biggest test so far. I say so far. Oklahoma City Thunder is going to be the Pacers' biggest test. But, this is just a team that's, people were saying it's like, oh, the Pacers were just playing, teams that were dealing with injuries and all that type of stuff. So that's why they were able to win. But they play the Knicks. They win the first 2 games in New York, I believe, and then they go to Game 3. Knicks win Game 3. Pacers win Game 4. I'll admit, going into Game 5 when the Knicks ended up winning, I was kind of crushed. I was like, you know what? It's like we got to win Game 6 at home. I love how I'm saying we when I just started watching the Pacers like a couple months ago. But it's like they got to win it at home because it just felt like, if this went to a Game 7 in New York, it seems like the Knicks would have probably won if we did go into a Game 7. But we didn't. Pacers did win today. And my golly, what a game this was. I was watching it on my phone, bits and pieces of it. And, yeah, I'm as happy as a clam because the Pacers are going to the NBA Finals. Ironically, it's kind of funny because, like, when I was starting to get into hockey, kind of the same thing happened. Like, when I was getting into the Blues, again, I apologize for keep touching my face, but when I was getting into the Blues, it wasn't around, like, it wasn't until, like, 2018, 2019 where I started taking hockey more seriously. And I start watching the Blues in the second half of the season. They do really good. They're in the playoffs. I was rooting for them the entire playoff run because it's St. Louis, And what do you know? They're in the NBA, or not, they're in the Stanley Cup, sorry. They're in the Stanley Cup, and they beat the Bruins. So, yeah, I'm just saying, it seems like there's kind of a trend. Will the same thing happen with the Pacers when they play the Thunder? I don't know. I have no clue. This Thunder's team, of course, is really good. A really good team. A lot of respect for Oklahoma City. So, yeah. What do you know? The year I decided to get back into basketball, the team I decided to follow is going to the NBA Finals. Man, oh man. But let me know in the comments below, how do you guys feel about this in the matchup, Oklahoma City Thunder, Indiana Pacers? Do you guys like the matchup? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Please feel free to educate me a little bit with basketball. Again, I'm super new to basketball. Well, I'm not really new to basketball, but I'm kind of a casual when it comes to basketball. So anybody who's a Pacers fan in the comments, feel free to help me out, with the history of the Pacers and some of the players and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to hop off here and celebrate this win. Go Pacers.